Hey everyone, welcome to this week's edition of the COMM 2095. Over the last 2 weeks, we've been talking about the media and violence and pointing the finger and saying, are they to blame for society's ills? And should we be restricting certain things that go out over the media? And as someone, as you well know, that worked on that side, it's a very balanced act that we have to think about. We want information, but we quickly blame the media when that information is deemed too violent or not clear or it's not rated. Look, we all have gone through something or have seen something on TV, the internet, social media that is violent. Um, over a few years ago, there were two television personalities in Virginia that were murdered, basically on TV, even though we didn't see them actually getting murdered. We heard it because the camera dropped and we heard what had gone on. We've seen suicide happen on Facebook, unfortunately. We've also seen planes fly into buildings on 9/11, and what we saw one of the planes live on television actually fly into one of the towers. That's all violence in the media, but it is not the media's fault in that sense to restrict, or if it would not be their fault if they didn't restrict or they don't restrict content, because it's their job to report on what's happening. That is why when we look at certain things like video games, movies, music, um, movies that are on pay TV channels, there are ratings and are restrictions to being able to buy products because they're not for people of a certain age. Should we then say to everyone that comes in, you're not allowed to watch this because you're not 18? Well, if I'm a parent of an 18-year-old or less than 18-year-old and I decide to take them to that movie, does that mean it's wrong? Am I exposing them to some sort of violence? In a lot of ways, it is up to us as the people that are going to either watch or not watch to make that decision. We live in a country where we have the freedom of the press. We have the freedom to watch what we would like to watch. You don't want to watch Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, you change the channel. If you don't want to go see a movie that's rated R, you decide not to see it. If you decide you don't want to play a video game because it's way too violent, you don't buy it. And that's why it is in our hands, and it should be in our hands to decide what we are going to do when it comes to violence. So we shouldn't be pointing the finger at the media to say it is their fault. When we see all the things that happen now on social media, the level of bullying or the cancel culture, as we call it, it it's a vacuum. You've heard me mention this before. There is a vacuum on social media. Everything that we see that trends is because people are on social, because something has been shared there through either the media, through someone posting something, tweeting, etc., whatever. We can decide not to view that. I can see a trending topic. I look at it and see what it is. Like, you know what? I'm not interested in that. For me, it comes down to if you have the ability to balance what you need to see and what you need to get, it's not on the media to do that for you. It is your responsibility as a human being, as someone that has rights, to say, I'm not going to watch that. I'm not going to buy that. I'm not going to listen to it. There are labels on albums, there are labels on movies, there are labels on video games, there are labels on television programs now that tell you what the ratings are. You can go to Common Sense Media's website and find out whether it's something that is safe for your kids at times. We have the right to figure out what is violent. We can't always be pointing the finger at the media because if we do, it's going to make things that much worse. The media should not be to blame for showing something that is news. If it's not news, sure, we shouldn't be showing it. But at the end of the day, we are the ones that have the power to say, I'm not going to watch that. I'm not going to listen to that. Think of those things when we think about violence in the media and blaming the media right away, because it's not all their fault. We have a share in that equation as well.